computer, volume on the computer down?
No, I'm not getting.
It's everything's up.
Oh, here's Heidi, or I guess that's you.
Yeah, they should be able to, but
Charlotte, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yay! Thank you so much. Confirmation. Hi, everybody. My name is Cindy Wright, and I'm the gallery coordinator here at Exchanges. And I would like to welcome everybody to this artist talk by Lukas Mouka. Lukas was born in Czechoslovakia and immigrated to Canada when he was a youngster. He moved to Ottawa and grew up in Toronto, and was, according to his bio, he was really taken to drawing. He went in to look at painting and classical animation, and to continue with his absolute love of drawing, and you can clearly see that in his paintings. One of the things that's going to happen today is we couldn't quite get the tech to work properly. So Lukas is going to talk about his work, and I'm going to follow him around with the webcam when he goes to talk about a certain painting. So just give us a little bit of patience in terms of the movement of the camera and the webcam. But for now, let's welcome Lukas.
Thank you. Hello. Like Cindy said, this is my show. It's my first show in Victoria. And these are my paintings that I've worked on for the past 2 years. I like to think of them as my pandemic paintings. And yeah, as you'll see, one of the things I like a lot are colors. I like how different colors work together. I like playing around with movement in my work. It's very important. And yeah, I like most of my work is concerned with figurative. It's all figurative work, but I like distorting them and blending them and blurring them and mixing in abstraction and figurative work, playing around with distortions of representation. Some of the major themes in my work are nature, like what the idea of nature, whether traditionally it's forest, nature, or more of a imagined nature. Also, some of my paintings deal with just some elements of mythological archetypes, psychological archetypes, and yeah, maybe we can start talking about some specific paintings. Let's start with this one. How much reach do you have?
this got enough juice in it,
Okay.
so that's all good. And we'll try to do a little bit of a. Oh, that's all good. Or can I? You know what I'm gonna do? I'll do it like that.
That works. So this painting is called Fairy Creek. It's the most literal piece in the show, and deals with the Fairy Creek protest, obviously. I made it based on, well, the motivation to make it came just from sort of shock at the media that was being released and how blatant the media portrayed sort of overly violent responses of the police to the protesters. So that's what I tried to capture in the picture. Some people have said it reminds them of a Civil War painting, which is interesting, with like the soldiers and the banners, the red dresses that could kind of look like a banner. Yeah, I like how the protesters are in a solid group. I think when they're protesting, they call that a blob. They just stick together and band together and hope that they obstruct the path enough. And the officers sort of, they're more individual. They look sort of like they're they're more violent. They're brutalizing people, and they're a bit more disorganized, maybe working on unified agendas. And yeah, also I like in the back corner there, you see these native protesters that reference from some previous images. They're sort of, to me, it feels like they're involved in a longer, they have a larger presence than this just one singular event. Sort of like they've been watching things like this happen for much longer, on much longer time scale, is what I'm trying to say. Maybe we can just move down the line.
Yeah.
So this next one is called the Deluge, and it came about. I was reading some Renaissance masters about their art and reading a little bit about Da Vinci and Michelangelo, and how later in life they were both sort of interested in apocalyptic images, especially Da Vinci. He was just drawing a lot of like swirling storms and chaotic forms, and I was really taken by them. And some of the figures in this painting are based on Michelangelo sculptures. Like that one I think is from the Dawn sculpture, and that one, I forget the name of the painting, but it's a painting, maybe the name is Deluge actually, that might be where the title came from, but it's like a man carrying his dead son. So this one went through a lot of different versions until I was happy with it. I actually put it aside for a while because it wasn't working, but I'm quite happy with how it turned out, sort of capturing that apocalyptic chaos and the tidal waves and all the figures sort of stranded in it. And then grounding it with those realistic sort of industrial form, I thought worked really well. I like how the horse looks like it's hanging in space. Yeah, and there's a little mushroom cloud above it. Yeah. This one is called Elongated Portrait. It's supposed to be a self-portrait, but which it started off as a self-portrait, I guess it is, but at some point I kind of decided that I'm not that interested in making it a real self-portrait, and I just kind of got involved with how the colors look and trying to just sort of put together, like model together sort of a sculptural abstract look, but still have it be representational, still make it look like a three-dimensional figure. So I'm quite happy with it. Some of the comments that people have made about it are that it's sort of a, like it's an interesting look, sort of like an I don't know, like this person is studying you, the viewer, like kind of intensely, or is scrutinizing you. And yeah, some people have said it makes them a little uncomfortable. I don't feel that way. Like I don't know if I look at it as a self-portrait personally. I don't feel like I was looking at myself that way. So it's interesting to hear that from other people, and I definitely see it. And yeah, I like how it kind of catches the character or the image is, it looks like it's just caught in the moment. And I feel like there's a lot of movement in it, so I'm quite happy with it. We can move on to the next one. This one's Sunbathers, and it's one of my newest one. I think I was really just working out the texture in this picture. Like a lot of my paintings, it goes through a lot of different versions until I'm satisfied with it, and I really like the overall feel of this one. There's like kind of a nostalgia, or it's like a, yeah, I feel like it captures time really well. There's like movement, so it's not static. So that satisfies me. There's a lot of texture in it. I like putting sort of analogous colors like the greens and blues in the sky from farther away. It kind of gives it just the feeling that I'm going after. Sort of a timeless look. This one could be one of the most abstract sort of paintings I've done. It's called Zebra Skin. And yeah, it seems to be a favorite of attendees of the show. Obviously, it's two figures, and a lot of the abstraction could be interpreted as just the things going on between them. There's a lot of movement in the painting. It's kind of got this like hourglass shape that's, people have pointed out, it's kind of like a swirling vortex or a tornado. So there's a lot of energy in it. It's nicely anchored with the blue background. I like some of the forms that come out, like this just hand sticking out is nice. I always thought that on her shoulder there's this kind of owl figure. I like when things just kind of pop up spontaneously, and I like leaving it open to interpretation for other people to see whatever they want to see. I don't really want to like present a static finished image. So it's always interesting to keep it as loose as possible for me. So I think that one turned out really successfully. This is a painting called Tourist. It's a much lighter painting of the show. It's just kind of whimsical, free. I feel like it captures some of the energy of being tourists and visiting places, and sort of, yeah, just that excitement. And yeah, it was kind of inspired by some photographs I was looking at some Italian cathedrals, and there were just flocks of birds flying around everywhere, and just kind of the chaos of that had a lot of vitality. So that was the goal in capturing this one.
So you're talking a lot about compositionally what happens. But do you go in with a preconceived composition?
Sometimes.
Okay, sometimes, so you sometimes go in and say, yeah, this is what I want this painting to be about.
Yeah,
And other times you go in and just like paint to the canvas, who cares?
kind of. I usually always have an idea to start with, and yeah, it can take a left turn pretty easily, and then I can, yeah, sort of the image can dictate where I'm going a little more than my preconceived ideas. So I'm always definitely willing to do that, to make it an exploration.
Because I look at the piece you're about to go to, and I mean, it's compositionally, you know, it checks all the boxes. But then you think, well, where did that come from in your brain?
This one, I just wanted to, like, I wanted to take, I think I work in extremes sometimes, and I wanted this as an example of some of the ideas I've been working in these paintings, and just as an experimenter, just to take it to an extreme. So I didn't really have exactly a preconceived image in mind, but more of a concept. Like, I just wanted to stretch it out, literally and figuratively stretch it out to its limits and see how far I can distort things while still keeping them true, like identifiable,
Okay.
right? So that it's that tension, that push and pull between like taking things as far as possible and still keeping them recognizable. I'm not really that interested in working in abstraction. I always want forms and images to pop out, whether they're like more implied in the figure or just like things in the background that a viewer can see. So yeah, I'm happy with that. And that this painting and a couple of the more recent ones are things I'm gonna definitely continue to explore. Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, the next one. So this one was done right before that the one we just looked at. So I finished this one, and I was more concerned in the lighting effect and sort of the feel of the light coming through the trees, because what I was really going for, I really like some of the color harmonies, like with the yellows and the purples and pinks that come out there, and the different greens. And yeah, also I think it's in the future I'll probably be exploring more of that. Just when light gets filtered through the forest, through all the boughs, like the kind of colors that come out and exaggerating them. These next two are also pretty recent ones. And they also represent taking things to extremes, working with images in mind that are kind of composite images. I really wanted to anchor the figure and the car, have it as an anchor in, just to work conceptually as an anchor in the piece. And then obviously it's like a forest landscape, but I just wanted to take it to extremes, see how far I can go with the abstraction and what kind of effects will come out. And yeah, quite pleased with it. I think these two, especially when viewed from far, there's a real depth to them, and a lot of things start popping out. They sustain the viewer for I think there's a lot to look at, and that's the goal. So yeah, I'm happy with these two. Do the next one. And this one's a bit of the same thing, but on the lighter side of subject matter. I guess it's a daytime scene. It's more light. The colors are a bit lighter in mood and hue. And yeah, I was playing around with some forms coming out a little more intentionally in the background. I was actually looking at some Egyptian art and placing some of those forms in the forest. I feel like the viewer can make what they want of that. I was just really interested in, yeah, how they would sit amongst all the canopy. And once again, the car and the figures are sort of anchoring this one, but this one's a bit more realistic. So yeah, from far away, I like how it almost has a tapestry look. There's a lot of texture going on in it. And yeah, also happy with how it turned out.
Did you juxtapose them that way on purpose?
For the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't like, I don't really mean them as a diptych, but yeah, for the sake of the show, I really like playing them off each other.
Because you've got that daytime back half of the car and the nighttime front half of the car, right beside each other.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think that makes both of them stronger.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think they play really well off of each other. And obviously the front of the car makes more sense in the nighttime because you have the headlights are illuminating the scene. But yeah, they work really well together. And this one's another composite image taken from different source material that just kind of came together. I was fascinated by the figure on the right. I knew I wanted to try something with that image. And then it kind of came together. I added the other other guy, kind of like a bit like a collage as I was working on it. And yeah, also just representing sort of a looser approach to the handling. Trying to work looser but simpler. I like, I guess there is a bit of a narrative in this one that comes out where it's sort of like just two people sitting on a bench, obviously, but it's like two sort of different attitudes towards things. Like one is sort of, one's a shepherd, he's much more rural, like he's got the working hands, obviously, are a big part of it. He's holding a lamb, he's interested in like nature and wildlife, and the other one is kind of just a little more introspective. His eyes kind of look closed, his like hands in his pocket, he's not really paying attention. So just an interesting polarity. And a lot of people have mentioned that they don't really see the horse in the background, which I like. It wasn't really intentional, but they'd be like staring at it for 5 minutes or so, and then suddenly they're like, whoa, there's a horse. So that's nice to hear. It's an interesting part of it. Next, we have Man in the Box. Again, this one's taken from a reference photo that I was kind of fascinated with. It's actually a picture of the grandson of Andrew Wyeth, James Wyeth, who was also an artist. And I guess he was working in a really high tourist area with like his famous grandfather, and him being an artist in his own right. So he devised, and he was a landscape painter, so he devised this box to work out of that people wouldn't interrupt him, or they wouldn't be able to look over his shoulder to see his work. But I just really like the image, and I thought it was like a pretty cool metaphor for sort of the artist sitting in his box, like the isolation sometimes working as an artist, and also maybe just like ignoring outside distractions and pursuing your own image of your work. And yeah, also just playing around with looser forms, looser brushwork, and a bit of palette knife work in this one. This is one of the older ones in the show, but I included it because the next three paintings I think just work really well together, and I do really like it. I just really like the expression of the man's face, and yeah, also the character of his face, the wrinkles and the structure of his face. So that's why I painted it. I like the high horizontal line and the sort of 1 point perspective of the geometric forms in the background. Just thought it was a cool image. This one is a second version of a painting that I did, and I really like how it turned out. It's called Sisyphus. It's sort of the Greek, I guess, Greek myth of the man sort of doomed to the hardship of pushing a rock up a hill over and over again. And so this guy's handling a large industrial like tractor wheel or something, but it was more just an exercise in more distortion. I was playing around at the time with some digital, looking at references of digital distortion, like glitch art and stuff, which is probably something I'll keep doing in the future. I really find it interesting to readapt it into the painted medium, and I think it lends itself really well. And yeah, it's just a great excuse to play around with color. I always like using flat, vibrant color and a combination of a lot of texture. The two together are really pleasing to me. This one is probably the oldest in the show, and I again wanted to include it because I thought it works really well with the last two. The title is Fear, and I guess I just wanted to capture the feeling of the man, like the expressive feeling of fear, and the dog is kind of just there to heighten the sense. I don't really know what he's fearing of, or what he's looking at or reacting to, and I don't think it's really that important. Yeah. Maybe the last one that show.
Yeah.
This is Death leading the astronaut. People always ask me why I call it astronaut, and to be honest, I don't really have a great answer. I just it's kind of like, makes me think of that Magritte painting, that it's not a pipe. Like, it's, to me, a similar thing. It's not really an astronaut because it's a painting, so just playfully called it an astronaut. And it's the last of my astronaut series that I've been working on for a while. And yeah, I wanted to include it because it's looser. The brushwork is much looser. I think it kind of ties in with some of the themes in the other paintings. And yeah, I just really like this painting. I think it's kind of funny, the idea of a skeleton leading the astronaut. And part of the theme of working with the astronaut paintings is, what drew me to it was they kind of look helpless, like these beings floating around in space. They're not really adapted to that environment. So there's a helplessness, the fragility that I like to explore. And so in this one, it's sort of taken to an amusing height where, like, death has taken the astronaut by the hand and is like leading him, which obviously is probably a big lesson in life that everyone has to face. So it makes him even more helpless. Yeah, I just really like this one also. It's a nice one to end on.
We'll put it back on the print there in case someone has a question of these guys or.
Yeah, that's good.
So we have a little time for Q&A. And so what we can do is we can basically unmute folks. I think I have to ask you to unmute. And it will allow you to unmute. But is there anybody that has questions for Lukas or anything that they would like to put into the chat that he can address?
I have a question.
Yes.
Most proud.
Which painting am I most proud of?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Which one am I most proud of? I think maybe offhand, I'd have to say this one. This is one of them that comes to mind that I'm most proud of. I think because anytime a painting is kind of a struggle, and then you know, it's just a good life lesson when you're like struggling with the painting, and it turns out and you're pleased with the results, then it just makes you feel extra good. Because this one is one I struggled with, and like even when bringing it to the show, I was still kind of hesitant. I'm like, I even put it in my bedroom for a while just to live with it, to like see, like, yeah, can I really stand behind it? Is it finished? Is it ready? And I decided that I like it a lot. And yeah, the more I look at it, the more I see in it, or the better I feel about it. So I guess that makes me proud of it.
So if you have a question, you can use the chat or you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Well, I just raised my hand there, and
We have a hand raised.
Yeah.
it's me, it's Charlotte, okay?
Hi, Charlotte.
Hi there. I have no idea how I ended up on your mailing list because I've never been to the gallery and I'm not an artist, but somehow I ended up there and I'm with nothing much to do this afternoon. I figured I was going to check in, and I really like like your paintings. Interesting thing was that the first one was about Fairy Creek, and I've been quite involved in the protests there. You know, it's a group called the Elders for Ancient Forest, and I'm part of that. And so I've been laying on the street in Belleville in front of the legislative building, and I've been to Fairy Creek many times. So I've seen exactly what's happening there, and I think I think you captured it really well. And have you tried to have it on display somewhere? Because I think it is worth being on display somewhere. You know, if there is a fundraiser for Fairy Creek, maybe you can put it in there to sell it or something like that. Maybe I can even see if there's anything coming up, you know, on that.
Yeah, if you had any suggestions, I'd be open to hear them. I have showed it at the Ministry of Casual Living as a window on Yates Street. So it was showed there last August for about a month. And I have
Where did you have it shown?
are you in Victoria?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
In Victoria at the Ministry of Casual Living, they have a window display on Yates Street. So this is actually the second public showing of that painting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's very much on people's minds at this point, and right now it's a bit of a standstill because the government has given some millions of acres to be saved, but of course not everything is quite clear on what's going on in Fairy Creek just yet. So, and I really enjoyed your other paintings as well. I see you have managed to get a lot of depth in them. So it's like layer after layer after layer, which I really was intrigued by, and also your colors. So I'm glad I was part of this. I didn't know who it was, and I didn't know anything about you.
I can't say how, but I would also like to know that the gallery is open Saturdays and Sundays from 11 to 4, and Lucas is here until the 17th.
And
So
it's down Government Street somewhere, right? No?
Well, it's on Government, sort of. So you know where Greg's Furniture is, sort of Government and Bay?
Yeah, I've seen a sign there when I've been out bike riding.
Yeah, if you come up through the driveway on the one side of Greg's, you'll come to sort of like this quad where there's a quad of buildings, and we're in one of those quads.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
But I ended up being part of it. Haphazardly, you know, by some mysterious coincidence.
Somebody's got their hand up too, like your mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, Lukas. The
Hello.
exhibition looks the exhibition looks great, and I really appreciate your talk about each painting, which I've never heard from you. So that's a new dimension for me, and yeah, so it looks great.
Thank
I
you.
really enjoyed your talk.
Thank you. Did you have a question?
Not really.
Mom's gonna need a question.
Okay. That's okay.
Where's your mom now?
She's in Tweed, Ontario.
Oh, okay.
No, it's a great opportunity to be part of it. I didn't know about this. So that's really pleasing.
Well, I'm really glad that we could bring your son's paintings to you. So do we have any more questions from the audience or from the people back there on Zoom?
Yeah, do you have a studio or do you paint at exchanges? Or do you have your own studio somewhere?
No, I have my own studio right now in Camel River. I'm based in Camel River, so I have a house and a studio on my property.
Oh, okay.
But I'm considering the move. I'm thinking about moving to Victoria this fall. So I'll be looking for studio space in the fall.
So is this, do you have another means of income, or is this is how you support yourself? Not that I want to be too nosy, but
It's often how I support myself, but sometimes with like bigger renovation expenses on my house and stuff, I go and plant trees actually, which I'm gonna do. The day after this exhibition closes, I'm gonna go work a 2-month contract planting trees in the Okanagan Valley, which I love because it's the complete opposite of being stuck in your studio and thinking about things and, you know, all the stuff that get into an artist's head. You can just turn off your brain and work physically for 2 months, and it's great. I love it.
I know another artist that's doing exactly the same, planting trees and then painting and planting trees the following year to make it all come together. So
Yeah, well, it's good life.
yeah, no, I think it's great. The trees need to be planted, so that's great.
Yeah, especially if they keep burning down like that.
Yeah, burning down and being cut down, exactly.
Yeah,
Can you make them grow a little faster too?
I'll try my best.
Yeah, good.
I think that depends most on where they're planted. They grow pretty fast here on the island.
Right.
Well, like I said, Lucas's show is up until the 17th on Saturdays and Sundays from 11 to 4. Tell all your friends that you have seen the work of this amazing young painter and to come in and enjoy the show. And I thank everybody online for joining us and the people in the audience for joining us. And I'm going to sign us off now. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye.